Hello guys and welcome back to ArxangelRC. Today I have not one but two items to show you. First one is the Eachine Fury Wing Racing FPV wing, which is amazing fun to fly. And the second one are the new VR006 seriously budget diversity goggles with an integrated battery. All links for those interested are in the video description below. Unlike other times where I open the plane in my office and do a careful build etc., this time I thought I'd take a different approach on account of this plane being pretty much almost ready to run out of the box and supposedly quick to deploy. It comes with servos, motor and ESC pre-installed and actually properly set up, so all you need to add is your own receiver, a battery and the FPV gear. Now for this first build I will not be using FPV because that requires a bit more wiring and I wasn't prepared to do that at the field, but I did put my trusty Runcam 2 at the front to get at least some good onboard video. As far as instruments go, you would need a Phillips head screwdriver to mount the fins on, and you may need some self-adhesive velcro for some of the gear, but that's about it. When you take it out of the box, the plane is in three major chunks: the two wing halves and the center carbon structure, which actually feels solid as a rock. This is the first time I'm actually seeing a wing like this in person, and I have to say I am very impressed by the design, the rigidity of the model and the quality of the workmanship. This is so simple to put together that a child can do it with eyes closed. You just need to insert the carbon spar into one wing, wire the servo cable through the appropriate opening in the carbon and snap the magnets together. Then just slip the other wing half on the spar and wire the cable through and you're done. So far I have mainly dealt with my long-range planes and they take quite a lot of time to prepare for flight and absolutely more time to assemble. This was something of a shock. After the wing is assembled, mount the prop, put the camera at the front if you want, install the battery and the receiver, and you're ready to go flying. Don't forget to do the elevon mixing properly in your radio, but most radios support ready-to-use profiles now, so you should be good to go in no time. Out of the box I decided to go with a 4S 1800 mAh battery because I thought this would be more in line with the name, and as those of you who are familiar with my work know, I do love higher voltage setups. Besides, 3S really doesn't scream racing wing quite as much. One thing to note here are the balance markings on the wings. Upon checking those, it turns out that the wing is actually tail heavy, and yet the first time I flew it I forgot to check the CG and it flew absolutely perfectly and absolutely refused to stall. So at this point I am wondering whether I actually need to move more weight up front or if the manufacturers got the CG markings wrong. I know how a tail heavy wing flies. It is on the border of insanity and is about as uncontrollable as a wing can get, and this was not the case here. Anyway, just something to keep in mind when you guys set up yours for the first time. Also, don't forget to adjust the elevons up mechanically because these wings always need that. Right, so time for the first flight. I had a friend throw it for me and guess what? He overdid it, and because the wings are held by magnets, the wing actually fell apart before it had left his hand because he threw it too hard. But then again, I don't blame him much. We've had our share of dodgy and hard to launch wings around here. Anyway, no harm done, no damage to the wing. I put it back together and I told him to throw it gently in the air because on 4S it certainly seemed to have more than enough thrust, and wouldn't you know it, around 60 to 70% throttle and a gentle throw in the air and it furiously took to the skies. Needed some up trim, but once that was done I was actually surprised how well it flew and how quick it was. Definitely can't compare to my long range models. As usual, one of the first things I did when I was done trimming was to try and tip stall it. Guess what? Doesn't want to. It just glides down and doesn't even try to lean to any side in particular. That really impressed me. And now let's talk about speed. This thing is a demon. a furious demon, or at least it looks that way in my eyes. I guess somebody more used to high-speed models would consider it slow, but it is plenty fast for me. It just screams with fury when I throttle it up, and the verticals are without end. I am surprised the motor and ESCs haven't burned out yet, as I did push it hard a few times. Really impressive stuff, but keep this in mind. For its wingspan, this is a heavy wing, so it does need the motor spinning to stay comfortably in the air. The controls feel kinda damped when I shut off the motor, which is a weird feeling on a model as quick as this one, but as long as that prop is screaming, you are good. After the first day of fun, it was time to add some FPV gear on it and really feel its potential. I went for my Runcam Swift 2 as it has an OSD function and I can monitor the battery voltage without the need for a buzzer, and I had a switchable output video transmitter lying around which I set to 100 milliwatts, and 10 minutes later the Fury Wing was ready to tear up the skies. I also decided to pair this setup with my newly arrived Eachine VR006 goggles that promised quite the feature pack for the measly $36 they're asking for them. They have a diversity receiver with auto scan, an integrated battery and an audio video input port. Quite impressive in my book for that price, and in addition they are tons more compact than anything I've had so far. So back at the field I tried launching the plane myself, and to my surprise it was much easier than I thought. I just give it throttle and guide it at an up angle and just remove my hand and it takes off. This is such a nice feeling, and it still surprises me how much thrust this wing has. So looking through the goggles I noticed that the wing actually shakes quite a bit in the air, and going higher on the throttle did little to change that. True, both days when I flew it there was quite a bit of wind, so I guess that could be knocking it around, but it was quite annoying and made me feel as if the wing is unstable, which really limited my enthusiasm to fly it fast and low. I tried moving some stuff as much forward as I could to try and see if it actually needs more weight up front, but there is limited room to do that, so I can't say it had much of an effect. The only thing that seemed to help was me taking the wing 200 or 300 meters high, well above the turbulent air on the ground. That reduced the shaking noticeably and made flying it much more enjoyable, but then I'm pretty sure that is not what this was made for, and that is a weird altitude for a racing wing to be flown at. I will dig deeper into this and see if I can find a solution. Funny thing is that from the side the wing looks solid in the air and it just refuses to tip stall, but all that shaking in the goggles really makes me uncertain about flying it low while looking at the video feed. As for the goggles, I can say that the diversity is nice, the auto scan feature works really well and is very accurate, the integrated battery is convenient although it doesn't last too long, and they are much lighter on my head than my current favorite, the EV800D goggles. And here comes the big but, with one T. The compact and light design brings the screen too close to my eyes, and the lens that is in there only makes things worse. I have to try and focus so hard to be able to see the screen clearly that my head and eyes start to hurt. And since the lens is not adjustable, I can't really do anything to fix them and make them usable for me. I can see the screen well without straining my eyes when I pull the goggles about 20 centimeters from my face, but that really defeats their purpose. I guess somebody else might find them comfortable and usable if the lens is right for them, but for my eyes the goggles are a no-go, sadly. Although I did enjoy how comfortable they felt on my head and how light they are. The screen is smaller than the EV800D, but that is to be expected for 3 times lower price. Despite the smaller size, it actually looks pretty darn good. Resolution is okay, the image is clear and colors are nice. It lacks a DVR, but I guess it shouldn't be a problem for that to be added in like with so many other models. But seriously, these pack in some amazing features for the price they're asking, and in case there are not good on your eyes, I guess you can try and DIY some other lens in there. I would say these are probably the best budget goggles of the type out there. Now back to the Fury Wing. It is impressive, and the speed, at least for me, is even more so. I even tried to kill myself a few times while trying to make full speed low passes to get some good shots of it, but you know, risks of the trade. I'm perfectly content with flying this just line of sight, as it is so much fun. People around me are seriously impressed by its speed and verticals. I'm seriously considering installing a racing quad board in there with iNav on it, and to try and turn this into a quick deployment medium range cloud chaser, as I have a feeling it will be able to reach most clouds up to about 2 kilometers within 1 or 2 minutes, and once you're up there, all planes fly smooth. So there you have it. The Fury Wing is one amazing model and has definitely earned its place in my fleet, and I would certainly push it further to see what it is capable of. The quick detach mechanism really does work as advertised, so it should fall into parts upon a crash and prevent more serious damage, but try as I might, I was not able to make it fall apart in the air doing some aggressive maneuvers. So 10 points for design and execution. As for the goggles, like I said, surprisingly good for the money, but are not right for my eyes. Take that for what it is. However, for the people that can actually use these, the plane and the goggles together would make a killer set for a laughable amount of money. Now, as usual, all items featured in this video have been linked in the description below, so if you choose to buy anything via those links, I would very much appreciate the support. If you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to like and follow me on Facebook as well for daily updates. Happy flying, and until next time.